Let's start the video with an interesting experiment. I want you to look at the dimensions of these two tables and make an educated guess. Most people will probably think that one of these tables is longer and narrower than the other. However, both tables are exactly the same size. Now, let's prove it. Let's have two duplicate figures of the same size as the table. Let's rotate one of them to the same plane as the other. If we put them both on the tables, we'll see that our eyes have just deceived us. No matter how well the human brain works, it can be subject to illusions in various situations in daily life. Just like the table example, every day we make hundreds of decisions and make small or big choices. However, in some cases, our brains can deviate from rational thinking and lead us to erroneous choices. The main reason for this is that people consciously or unconsciously succumb to various prejudices. These prejudices can lead us to a poorer, unhealthier, and unproductive life, both on an individual and societal level. Therefore, in order to make the best decisions and lead a healthier life, we need to recognize and understand our prejudices and ways of thinking and develop the habit of questioning them. Let me give you a real example of the results of understanding thought patterns and making the right decision accordingly. At Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam, despite all the cleaning efforts, the bad odors in the toilets could not be prevented. After a while, it was discovered that the problem was that men in particular were using the urinals and splashing around. In order to find a practical and effective solution, a small fly image was placed inside the urinals. The idea behind this simple but ingenious idea was based on the assumption that men would instinctively target the fly, and it worked as expected. Thanks to the targeting tendency, the splattering problem was drastically reduced. In a short time, the airport's cleaning costs dropped by 80%, and the bad odors were almost completely eliminated. No matter how vast their experience and knowledge, every human being has weak points. Therefore, even the most brilliant minds can be manipulated, fall into simple misconceptions, and make strange mistakes. For example, in the early 1700s, Newton invested in South Sea Company stocks, one of the most popular and speculative investments of the time. Initially, he was wise and sold his shares at a profit when the stock price rose. However, he later reinvested as he thought the value of the shares would increase even more. Unfortunately, Newton lost a huge fortune when the company's speculative bubble burst. After this event, Newton had these words to say: "I can calculate the motion of the stars, but I cannot calculate the folly of men." So how is it that people can be so intelligent about some things and so ignorant about others? The answer lies in the human way of thinking. Our way of thinking is divided into two, one by intuition and automatic, the other by thinking and logic. The automatic system is fast and uncontrolled, while the thinking system is slow and controlled. Because we rely on the automatic system, we often make mistakes. For example, we worry when an airplane hits turbulence, but the thought system tells us that airplanes are safe. You will understand what I mean better after I ask you 3 test questions. 1. The total price of a computer and a keyboard is $1,500. If the computer costs $1,000 more than the keyboard, what is the price of the keyboard? If your answer is $500, you are wrong. The correct answer is $250. 2. If 3 printers print 3 documents in 3 minutes, how many minutes will 30 printers print 30 documents? Those who answered 30 minutes are wrong. The correct answer is 3 minutes. 3. If the water lilies in a lake double every day and cover the entire lake in 48 days, how many days will they cover half of the lake? No, the answer is not 24. The correct answer is 47 days. Do not be upset if you answer incorrectly, because these questions require patient thinking. The point here is about how automatic and quick decisions can mislead our brains. So my advice is that if you weigh your decisions, analyze the risks, and act with patience before making important decisions, you will usually be more successful and take better steps towards the future. Finally, let's talk about another bias known as the anchoring effect. This is when you start evaluating what you don't know based on what you do know. Let's explain with a simple example. Let's say you want to buy a television in a store. The first TV you look at is $2,000. Then you see another TV priced at $1,500. This TV might actually be expensive, but because the first TV you see at $2,000 is your reference point, the $1,500 TV seems more affordable to you. The anchoring effect is based on the fact that the first information you receive greatly influences your subsequent decisions and perceptions. All this is actually studied by a separate branch of science, behavioral economics. This is a field that recognizes that people do not always make rational decisions. It studies how emotions, biases, and mental shortcuts influence economic choices. Unlike traditional economics, it aims to understand human behavior in a more realistic and practical way. Yes, friends, in today's world, it is easier than ever to manipulate people and influence their decisions. If you open your eyes, you can see it everywhere. Remember, awareness is the greatest power.